I can only count maybe 2 or 3 times that I was able to explicitly say, like, I don't think she's going to survive this. There are times, especially at the beginning, where nobody knew. And so there were some doctors that were naming all those fears to the point that it was actually really detrimental. That they would start coming down the hall and I'd be like, please don't come talk to me, because I was just, they're very good doctors, but they wanted to make sure I understood. And to me, it felt like someone was hitting me over the head with it. I knew how bad this was. John knew how bad it was. And I didn't want to talk about it anymore. And then other people, I think, were on the other end of being extraordinarily optimistic of like, oh, this is all going to be fine. And I was like, but you don't know that. And so I think that there are situations where I think I probably was just not ready to say it out loud. And I think for me, that is kind of how I am. And some of that was because that there was still, especially in that acute phase, I couldn't afford to kind of break down and not function. And I think that is one of the things that I've really learned, and that I'm hoping to continue to bring into my clinical practice, is that as parents, we have this very unique ability to hear that information, process it or not fully process it, because I don't think you can ever process this, but then push it away, because that's what you have to do to function. And people, I heard people say about, I listen for this language now, and I hear over and over, this mom doesn't understand because she looks so good. And people said that about me. I understood, but I still had to function. I still had to parent a child. I still had to make major medical decisions, and I couldn't do that if all that was going through my head was, my child's going to die, my child's going to die, my child's going to die. I think this situation is a little bit different when kids are when it is likely the end of the life is going to be not something that this is where the disease is headed. And I think there were times that Molly acutely was there, but we haven't been there in terms of potentially in terms of long term. And so I think I would probably feel differently. Hopefully I never find out if it was that situation, because I think, and again, this is more, I'm drawing on my clinical experience, that I think it is sometimes important for parents to say that and acknowledge those fears. And again, I think that's where palliative care is so very good at following families' leads, because no matter where the child is in this whole disease trajectory, I think the idea of beating families over the head with this information it's never helpful. And so, yeah, I think about ways my clinical practice has changed. Honestly, I think that my definition or my conceptualization of what is normal behavior for parents in these acute and long-term situations is much broader, because I've lived it, and there is a huge range of emotion, a huge range of response. People come in with a huge range of coping skills, and there's no right way to do this. And I think my experience has just driven that home, that there is no right way to do this. And our job as professionals is to support people wherever they are.